Hey Merfolk fans, I'm Joe. Thanks for tuning in. I'm here with Game 1 of a Modern Friendly League. I won the die roll, so getting off to a good start. Let's take a look at the opening hand. 5 lands, 1 creature, AEther Vial. So that's a mulligan. On the play, this is also a mulligan. You know, actually, thinking back, I think I might have made. Let's see. I think I kept this. I had just woken up at this point and kind of forgot that I was not on the draw. This is a hand I might keep on the draw with a scry. So what happened here? Did I keep this? I can't remember. I did, and I saw the island, so I got away with one there, but it was a little foggy on that keep, I think. Island and no 1-drop, so excuse me, a little bit of a cough. Okay, so opponent opens up with Stomping Ground, tapped, so don't really know what's going on yet. There's that island. Easy choice, I think, to on the play lead out with Spreading Seas here. Helps us draw into more lands, hopefully, which we just did, and hopefully slows the opponent down a little bit. So we see blue, and then green. So, okay, immediately we know what we're up against. It's a Scapeshift with Colony Heart Expedition. Here's this card zoomed in if you guys don't know about it. It's from Zendikar. It has landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield under their control, they can put a quest counter. You can remove 3 quest counters, sack this, get 2 basic lands, put them onto the battlefield tapped. So this guy probably has a ton of fetch lands. Each fetch land gets 2 counters on this by itself. So basically a really low-cost way to get 2 basic lands into play. So that's going to resolve. Go ahead with the replay here. And I'm drawing great. I kept 1 land and hit 3 running lands, I think. So I think off the Spreading Seas I drew into the Lord, maybe? I'm not sure. But anyhow, no, I think I drew a land. Okay, so hang on. I gave it away a little bit. I was going to ask you guys what you would do in this spot. Now, again, I was a little foggy, and I thought, hey, let's keep the opponents off his colors. Maybe, just maybe, he has no more lands in hand and will be utterly screwed by me casting Spreading Seas. However, Colony Heart Expedition and the fact that he's on a Scapeshift deck should indicate that with 6 cards in hand, the opponent almost certainly has a land in hand. I would guess a fetch land in hand. So he's probably sequencing correctly to get maximum value out of his fetch land. I should have played the Lord, I think, to get some pressure established early. I'm not sure how big of a difference it would have made here. But let's see. Spreading Seas draws into a Vapor Snag, potentially useful against a Primeval Titan. But there's that fetch land. Opponent's going to get 2 counters on his Colony Heart Expedition. Opponent's going to grab a basic forest. I mean, they're pretty far behind on their mountain count, but Scapeshift can fix that pretty quickly. Alright, we see the opponent making good use of blue mana, casting Explore. He can play an additional land and draw a card. The additional land is going to tick the Colony Heart up. So there's Valakut. Probably would have been good to save the Spreading Seas for that. That's it's another thing I should have mentioned in considering whether to play Spreading Seas out early or not, is that a lot of times these decks have Valakut in hand, and if we can save a Spreading Seas for that, it's going to be much more effective. So there's 3 counters on Colony Heart within 1 turn. Gonna sack that, get 2 tapped basics. He can do this on my end step too, but he's just doing it now, I guess. No reason to wait. So for my turn, got a lot of choices. Play the Cavern out first, name Merfolk. Can play out a Master of Waves, get a bunch of tokens, that seems decent. Can play a Lord and attack with Mutavault. But with 2 Masters in hand, their tokens are just going to get bigger and bigger. So we'll go with Master of Waves. Get 3 2/1s. And on the opponent's turn, I think we're going to see a Primeval Titan. That's what this is looking like. So there he is. We've got a Vapor Snag. Could potentially deal with that guy. Alright, so it looks like he grabbed a couple of mountains, so still not triggering Valakut yet. Would have been really great if we had that Spreading Sea still in hand, and an extra Lord on the table. Opponent places land for the turn. That brings his mountain count up to 4. Cinderglade comes in untapped because he has 2 or more basic lands. I think that was it for the opponent's turn. I drew another land. You could play a Master of Waves and snag the Primeval Titan. The problem at this point with snagging the Primeval Titan is that the opponent's mountain count is up to 4. He'll be able to get 2 more even on a cast trigger. Start getting Valakut triggers, and Valakut is not red, it's colorless, so it can just destroy Masters of Waves. So even though this guy's looking pretty powerful right now, he's really weak to Valakut. So with Island Walk online, I decided here to play a Lord, activate Mutavault, I believe, Vapor Snag. Let's see. Swing, 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 swing. Get the damage in while I can with the tokens before they die to Valakut triggers. Now before damage, I'm going to Vapor Snag, just because I don't want this guy to block even a single elemental. These guys have Island Walk. It's possible that I should have just... Let's see, if I leave the Primeval Titan, I mean, they've got so many lands. He goes to his start of combat, and then we Vapor Snag him, and then he replays him in the second main. I mean, it's vaguely possible that the opponent taps his mana down so low that he can't recast the Primeval Titan after the start of combat, but he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 9 lands right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, I don't know. It just seemed like pushing damage was correct here. He's got a Bolt for the Lord. So, was going to use the Vapor Snag anyway, since I didn't want the Master of Waves just to eat it right now. So, opponent is just going to take 11 here, I think, going down to 7. It seems like a good clock. It seems like we're almost there, but as I was mentioning, the Valakut math is not working out very much in our favor right now. Got a bunch of people yelling out in my hallway. So a couple of mountains, going to take care of Master of Waves, going to go 3 to my face. This is why Kira is good in this matchup, because these kind of incremental triggers can save our team for a turn. Master of Waves is going to go away. Valakut resolves, hitting my face. Opponent's going to follow up with something. Sakura-tribe Elder, still have Island Walk, but we're too far behind. He's going to keep getting these Valakut triggers. This guy drew a Lord for the turn, but it's just going to die to a Valakut trigger. The opponent could easily have another Lightning Bolt in hand as well. He's still got 3 cards in hand. So at this point I just scooped, because if I play out another Lord, they both die to Valakut triggers. If I play out a Lord now and attack with Mutavault, even if he has no answer for the Lord, he's going to take 3, go down to 4. Swing with Primeval Titan. Actually, no, I'm sorry. The important thing here is the Sakura-tribe Elder. The Sakura-tribe Elder gets a Valakut trigger right now, which can kill this Lord, Primeval Titan, or, he can kill one of the Lords. Primeval Titan will kill the other one and go to my face and start hitting for 6. Next turn, I'm only cracking in for 2. We were just totally out-muscled there. It's totally possible that if I had sequenced slightly differently and held my Spreading Seas back, which I totally would have done in another game, but as I mentioned at the very beginning, I had a foggy, kind of fuzzy keep on that one lander with the Scry, and then I followed up with an ill-advised Spreading Seas that I should have saved for a Valakut. If I had an early Lord out to start pushing a little more early damage, it's possible we could have gotten ahead. At this point in the game, or just before this game ended, I noticed this guy's username. I think I might mess up the pronunciation for you Spanish speakers out there, but Justo de Angelo. I can show you guys on the table for the modern friendly leagues. There is a list of people and the number of undefeated trophies they have. You can see I've got 3 now. If we scroll down a little bit, we can actually see my name. If I can see, there I am on the table, just off the top pages. But Justo de Angelo is right up there at the top with 18 undefeated trophies. So had to start this particular friendly league against the end boss. So we lost the first game, possibly because of poor sequencing. But let's go ahead and see how the second game went. I'm going to open up the chat. Of course, since I lost, I'm going to be on the play. So, opening hand is a keep. It's a little scary, but it's definitely a keep. The opponent kept 7 as well, so again, a little frightening since he seems to be the most skillful player in these modern friendly leagues. Either that or he just plays all day, every day. So I think I opened with Cavern of Souls and AEther Vial, obviously, right? Opponent plays a tapped Cinderglade, nice and slow. Can appreciate that. AEther Vial got a counter, and I miraculously drew into a land right away. That gives me the opportunity to cast Silvergill Adept and try to get ahead a little bit on card advantage. I had 3 choices for my reveal, and it seems like the least information would be the Master of the Pearl Trident. So let's see. Yep, I revealed that guy. Got to draw a card off the Silvergill, and I'm drawing into a lot of power here. So feeling decent so far. If the opponent decided to go with Farseek or something here, I could counter it with Cursecatcher. But as it went, it looks like the opponent just passed the turn with mana up. So this is a tricky situation with open mana against a good opponent. Sometimes we might not want to activate AEther Vial because before Cursecatcher can come in, if he has some effect, we can't counter it. And as it turned out, the opponent did have a sideboarded Ancient Grudge. So pretty solid, but we get some value out of AEther Vial. We get to put Cursecatcher into play after the Ancient Grudge resolves. So, yeah. I drew a Mutavault for the turn, another land. I'm not unhappy to see that. Unfortunately, we can't cast Kira here, but we can cast the Lord that the opponent already knows about. Alright, so starting our clock up, swing for 5, nice chunk of damage. Opponent goes down to 15. They're hitting their lands, but they haven't been ramping yet, so we feel good about that. Let's see. Opponent is playing Engineered Explosives on 2, which is a little rough. We've got 2 2-drops on the table right now, but he can't crack it just yet. We're going to be able to get in for another chunk of damage next turn. Alright, so I drew a Harbinger. It's decent, but if he's got an attacking Primeval Titan, we're probably a little too far behind. It's probably just going to be correct here to activate the Mutavault and attack. We don't want to commit another Lord to the table just to have him swept away by Engineered Explosives. As it stands, I've got 3, 3, 2, and 2, so that's 10. It's a pretty threatening clock. So go ahead and activate Mutavault. Turn my guy sideways. Let's see if this guy has a Lightning Bolt. Looks like he does. I'm not going to let him hit my Mutavault, so Cursecatcher will bite the dust. Doing a great job. Got in for some damage and countered a spell. Cursecatcher is a really great, integral part of the Merfolk game plan. So opponent took 7 that turn. Let's see, 3, 3, and 2. No, I'm sorry, he took 8, going from 15 down to 7. So starting to represent lethal, opponent's got to feel pretty threatened by the board state. Has to leave 2 up for Engineered Explosives. Drew another land. Now that one's nice. It does give us access to Kira. Now, I think here, because I want to play Kira, I'm just going to attack for 5, force the opponent's hand to crack the Engineered Explosives. Alright, there it goes. My 2-drops get swept away, so probably unlikely that the opponent has another board wipe in hand, so the best play here, I think, is just to drop the island and then play Kira. Get some protection established and then start leaning. He probably can't block in the air. He's at 7 already. He hasn't been ramping. He's only at 4 lands. They're feeling pretty decent in this matchup right now. He took himself down to 6. 3-turn clock, Kira by herself. Going with Farseek. Gets a tapped Stomping Ground. So he does have a bit of ramp now. He's up to 6 lands. He's actually got 5 mountains already established. No Valakut in sight yet. Still at 20 life. Now Dispel is great. Protects even better against... Kira's good protection against Lightning Bolt, but if he tries to go to my face with a Lightning Bolt to get me within a lethal Scapeshift, next turn actually, I've got Dispel up for that Lightning Bolt. Opponent's at 6. If we play a Lord and tap out to activate Mutavault, we still don't win this turn, so 2-turn clock, we can leave up Dispel. Just swing for 4 here. Opponent goes down to 2, and Kira is lethal on her own. Here's a Valakut. Now, the opponent looks like he has Primeval Titan, which is pretty strong. He's going to be able to get 2 Valakut triggers here. So he can kill Kira, but we've got the Tidebinder Mage in hand. So, great sideboard strategy against this deck. Tidebinder Mage comes in very handy. Okay, another Dispel. Not necessary at this point, since as I mentioned a second ago, we have the Tidebinder Mage. Going to activate Mutavault and swing for 2. This was threatening to get out of hand in the next couple turns, so very fortunate to have the Tidebinder Mage right now to close the game out with Mutavault. And at that point, the opponent scooped it up 1-1, and we'll go and see how Game 3 went. So the opponent is going to be on the play here. Let's check out the opening hand. This is really, really good. Slow, but we've got a million Merfolk in the deck, and we'll certainly draw into some of them. Spreading Seas, after the first game, I kind of woke up a little bit and realized that I had made that mistake. So Spreading Seas are going to be looking for Valakuts this game. And yeah, we've got Dispel. We get to sit back on our mana a little bit with AEther Vial. So easy keep for me, and the opponent kept as well. So with him on the play, we're starting off at a disadvantage. AEther Vial will hopefully, regain some of that tempo, but we have to draw some gas. So he suspended a Search for Tomorrow there. So I did draw into a Master of the Pearl Trident, so things already going our way. Open with a Minamo into AEther Vial. It's possible the opponent sideboards in Choke. You don't see it that often, but he wouldn't be able to play it next turn anyway. But it's just something to think about when you play against green decks. Search for Tomorrow ticks down to 1 suspend counter. See Mountain and Forest. Colony Heart Expedition. I'm glad that's not an Ancient Grudge. We get to tick up our AEther Vial, make some use out of it, or get some use out of it, I should say. Drew another Island Walk Lord, so we're drawing exactly what I wanted to draw. So this turn, unlike the first game, I decided to go with early Pressure rather than early Spreading Seas. We still have Cursecatcher up. We did have to tap low enough so that we won't have access to Dispel. I'm going to put Cursecatcher into play on my turn to play around Ancient Grudge, like we didn't do in the first game. So, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm doing a replay, not actually live, so I just need to hit this little button here. All right, so 4 power on the board. Search for Tomorrow is going to resolve. Colony Heart Expedition is going to get 1 counter. Grabs a Mountain. So now we see the Ancient Grudge. Pretty rough indeed, but we've got some card draw with Spreading Seas to help us get back into it. There's a Valakut, so Spreading Seas, very prudent to wait on those. Calming Heart, unfortunately, continuing to add counters. But we've got a bit of a clock. We drew into a Mutavault, so I think we're going to play Spreading Seas and leave up Dispel this turn. So not playing any Lord, I think we just go straight to attacks. Swing for 4. We'll see if the opponent has any bolts or anything. Looks like he does. Why not? And I could choose to use Dispel or sack Cursecatcher here. But since Cursecatcher is part of my clock right now, and I've got the Dispel with mana up this turn, and it's not going to slow me down at all, they don't play too many instant spells that I can counter. The opponent's down to 2 cards after that Lightning Bolt. So I feel like it's a good opportunity to use the Dispel. I still have 2 more Dispels and 3 Negates after sideboarding, so I could also just draw into more counter magic, in which case it begins to get clunky. So opponent is going to take 4. He's going to go down to 15. In the second main, we'll play the Mutavault, play the Spreading Seas on Valakut, and keep drawing into cards, and we hit another land, which is nice because we might want to cast... Actually, you know, I took my Master of Waves out, but we still might want to cast 2 spells next turn. Opponent is tapping some lands. So this looks like Anger, and it was in fact. Always make them pay for it. Sacrifice the Cursecatcher, make him tap down. So as I mentioned, the opponent was down to 2 cards after the Lightning Bolt. He went up to 3 cards for his draw step, down to 2 again. And very, very important to mention that he missed a land drop there. Colony Heart Expedition didn't get to go off, and you know, he only got to play 1 spell. We're going to get to follow up with pretty strong plays. So another Island Walk Lord. I think I'm going to save the Spreading Seas. Activate Mutavault and swing. It's not the fastest clock in the world, but we've got another Lord in hand. Opponent finally, okay, he hits that land drop. Just missed 1. Calming Heart's going to tick up. And let's see. We're going to see, wow, another Anger of the Gods. So basically a 3-mana Lightning Bolt there. Opponent's down to 1 card after drawing, playing a land, and then playing Anger of the Gods. So I think we might just see a repeat of last turn here. We're going to play an Island Walk Lord. Activate Mutavault, bring the opponent down to 9. Of course, on the end step, well, what's happening here? Okay, sudden shock on Master of the Pearl Trident. So the opponent's down to 0 cards, so he's top decking. I've still got an attacker, I've still got a Spreading Seas, and I have a counter spell now. So nothing I can do about the sudden shock. The opponent's going to go from 12 to 10. He's going to choose to sack the Colony Heart first. Plenty of lands now, still not particularly close to Valakut Mountains. He could draw a Primeval Titan and turn things around right away. But it looks like he drew a Valakut instead. We've got an answer for that. Another Island Walk Lord. So again, this not being a huge threat right now, we will probably want to play the Lord this turn, but instead of attacking with Mutavault, I think it's better maybe just, yeah, to put the Spreading Seas onto this Valakut and take that one offline. Actually drew into another Mutavault, so that's another attacking body. And we can follow up with the Lord and actually threaten 8 damage next turn. Opponent drew and played a mountain. We drew a land, pretty poor. And activate both Mutavaults and swing for 8. And we've got blue mana up for Dispel. Opponent all the way down to 2. We can see what he draws here. So he drew into the Primeval Titan. But with 2 Mutavaults on board, he's going to be able to get, let's see, actually no Valakut triggers here, I think. Let's see. He's got 4 mountains. He can go right now and get 2 more mountains, but no Valakuts. He can get a mountain and a Valakut, but then he only has 5 mountains. So he got 2 mountains. No triggers, because no active Valakut, so it was wise to play out that Spreading Seas on the previous turn. And I guess the opponent realized he was dead on board to my 3 attackers. So that was really nerve-wracking for me once I realized that this guy leads the board with undefeated league wins. He's actually almost double. Let's go back to that chart. He's almost double the closest person, though these stats haven't changed in the last 2 or 3 days. But that's pretty impressive, and I was pretty excited to get the win. So thanks for watching, guys. Please let me know your thoughts, as usual, on my plays, on the matchup in general. Let's take a look at this guy's graveyard, because he had a lot of action this game. It's not like we just, steamrolled him with a bunch of lords against nothing but lands. He had Ancient Grudge for my Vial. He had Lightning Bolt. He had double Anger of the Gods, Sudden Shock. Yeah, and then just Calmly Heart and Search for Tomorrow for ramp. Drew into a Primeval Titan. On our side, he exiled 2 Island Walk Lords. We had another Island Walk Lord, that Lord, a Cursecatcher, AEther Vial, Dispel. So, I think that Scapeshift variants tend to be difficult matchups for Merfolk. I feel like having a lot of counter magic in the sideboard helps a lot. After sideboarding, I have 6 counter spells plus the 4 Cursecatchers. So we can actually control the game a decent amount. You saw me saving a Lord earlier in the game with a Dispel, and then drawing into another one. So again, let me know your thoughts on my plays, on the opponent's plays. Let me know your thoughts on the matchup in general. And yeah, please tune in for the next video where I'll be going to round 2 in this Modern Friendly League. Thanks a lot, guys. See you soon. Bye.